In today's increasingly agile world, there may be some question as to whether Microsoft Project is still relevant, especially in today's increasingly Scrum-driven projects. Well, let me start by telling a couple of quick stories to help you understand why I feel Microsoft Project Desktop is still a very relevant tool even in today's fast-paced, change-driven project management environment. So the first story is a recent webinar presentation by Steve McConnell. The presentation was called Software Estimation in an Agile World. Steve McConnell is one of the original signees of the Agile Manifesto, and he has written several important books. One in the 1990s called Rapid Application Development was based on his experiences at Microsoft. Steve knows his stuff. In this webinar, McConnell, who is an ardent Scrum evangelist, mentioned that Agile has some issues. One of the issues is that Scrum has a culture where their Scrum teams tend to refuse to give estimates. They will say that estimating is not Agile, that it's old school, that it's waterfall. Providing schedules, a Scrum team will say, forces them to give up flexibility. And a core Scrum tenet is that it emphasizes flexibility over predictability. That is a line item in the Agile Manifesto. Now let me bring in my second story. I'm currently the project manager on an enterprise rollout of Microsoft System Center. We are using a Microsoft Gold partner who has done over 100 installs of System Center. Their project manager is a certified Scrum Master. At the beginning of the project, getting a schedule from the vendor's project manager was impossible, but the fact of the matter is they had to provide an SOW with a table of hours to get the work. So at the beginning of the project, I took their SOW with the table of hours, and again, unable to get the vendor to give me a time-scaled schedule, I took the little bit of data I had and I turned it into a Microsoft project schedule, generating a start date and a finish date with milestones along the way. It is now 5 months later, and I want you to know that the original schedule I did in my old school waterfall MS Project tool is almost exactly the time schedule the vendor has followed. So what's my point? I get it. Large projects are difficult to estimate, and the Agile Manifesto itself says that it prefers responding to change over following a plan. But the problem is my executive sponsors want a plan. They won't approve a project until there is a plan. They want to know what we're going to do, how much it's going to cost, and when things look like they'll be done. They know it can all change, but they want a baseline estimate. It's a business they're running, and they have to have some sort of picture of the future because it's paramount to moving forward, as money is at stake. Now, I'm not discounting the ability of Agile to produce results. It produces. I've experienced it. It's a wonderful methodology. But my point is that my Scrum-dismissed MS Project tool still works, and it works well. And it works because it takes the logical sequence of events and puts them together in a way that lets you look into the future. That's still something extremely important for project managers to do. And especially at the start of a project, Microsoft Project does it better than anything else out there. So my answer is Microsoft Project is indeed extremely relevant, even in an agile world.